بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي نور قلوبنا بأنوار المحبة العلوية وأكمل لنا ديننا بولاية المرتزبية وتم نعمته علينا بهداية الهيدرية ونصلي ونسلم على سيد من خلق المؤمن الحق بالحق حبيب إلهنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم
محمد
صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين اللهم كن وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا صلوات الله. Brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum. Over the last few nights, the focus of these lectures has been on hikmat, and we got to a conclusion that ilm and hikmat are two separate entities, that when they are married together, it is the lifeline of Islam. And Islam, in fact, is these two things put together. If we want to do a formula, it's very simple. If we say ilm of Allah plus the hikmat of Allah equals Islam, equals deen, equals life. So without these two things, you don't have anything. Last night we mentioned the Holy Prophet said only two groups of people are going to be successful in this world and the hereafter. The people who listen and act, and the people who preach and act. These two things go together. We also then mentioned last night that when Imam Zaman will come, inshallah, that the main thing that he will do for us is that he will complete our knowledge and hikmah. And it's interesting, amongst all the things that this wali of Allah, this person who has all the powers that Allah has said that in his hand everything gets a rizq. From these hands, he will use these hands to increase our knowledge and hikmah. He doesn't choose anything else to increase. For instance, he can put his hand on our hearts and increase our faith. He could give us strength. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this Mahdi will increase your ilm and hikmah. Why? Because it is if you have the ilm and you have the hikmah, everything else will fall into place. Like we said about that hadith about Hazrat Adam. And you will see that once your hikmah and ilm is complete, then everything becomes easy for you. Why do we suffer so much in this life? Is because we may have knowledge, but we don't have the hikmah. We may understand a few things about religion, but we don't know the real things behind religion. And the English have a very nice saying. They say a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. And that is true, because amongst us we see, and especially even sometimes, we sit down and have discussions with people, and they ask you certain questions about certain things. I might give you one of these examples later on if I have time in the lecture. I'm aware last night I overran a little bit, the meter went over a little bit, but inshallah these fazailas of Ahlul Bayt are extremely important. Like I said, the Holy Prophet said, if you don't listen to these things, you will not be successful. And let me just tell you one more thing about these majalis of Imam Hussein. These majalis of Imam Hussein are not counted towards your life. So no matter how many hours you sit here, this will not be counted towards your life, so you will get them back in return. So you will see the lack of knowledge and hikmah is where all our problems start. The root of all the problems in this world is lack of ilm and hikmah. Sometimes the youngsters say to us, if this God is so merciful, why are there so many earthquakes? Why are there so many tsunamis? Why do so many people get killed? This has got nothing to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, if there's a group of people and Allah gives them many chances, and again, I said, look at the story of Nuh, Hazrat Noah, look at the story there. What happens? For 950 years, he preaches to these people. What does Quran say was the reaction of these people? Quran says, this is Sarih Quran, what does Quran say? They only showed two reactions to Noah. What was that? First, they would stick their fingers in their ears. Then they would pull their shirts over their heads so they did not see him. That was it. These two reactions. So you see, this ears we said last night was Imam Sadiq said the ears are the kull khair. All khair that Allah will come from your ears and your eyes. So the people of Noah will stick their fingers in their ears. They said, we don't want to listen to you. We don't. For 950 years, he kept going, he kept going, he kept going. Then he said, Allah, now send the azab. So you see, Allah doesn't send azab straight away. This is a merciful God. He gave them 950 years. We mentioned another night, he gave Pharaoh 25 years. He gave the people the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen 25 years. The people didn't listen. So when they don't listen, then Allah will sometimes send his azab. Because that is what they are left with. But Allah says that any other difficulties that you face in your life, Allah says, بِكَسَّبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. You have done it all with your own hands.
Wow.
Why has this happened? I will inshallah make it very clear to you tonight. I just want to give you some examples, maybe just one tonight. Again, I don't want to overrun in time. We said that ilm and hikmah are two separate things. Why did I say this? Because I said someone might be knowledgeable. They might be a very knowledgeable person. But if they don't have the hikmah of Ahlul Bayt or any other wisdom, and they don't act upon it, this ilm of theirs equals jahiliyyah. So when we say, sometimes we hear the word jahil, we get very offended. But again tonight I will make it very clear that not to get offended by this word, but just realize that whenever the word jahiliyyah comes, it means that you may be knowledgeable, but you don't have the hikmah. Just a very simple example, and I know some people might get offended by this, but I'm going to risk it. Tonight I'm going to risk a few things, and maybe you won't have me back tomorrow night, I don't know, but a person who smokes, they are a jahil. Why is that? Because all knowledgeable people, specialist people in their fields, doctors, everyone says smoking is bad for you. So much so on the packet of cigarettes that you buy, it says very clearly in big letters, smoking kills. So when that person picks up a cigarette and smokes it, they may be a knowledgeable person, they can read, it says smoking can kill, but they still smoke. So when they smoke, this is showing their ignorance. So if something happens to them due to that smoking, if they get a disease or an illness or cancer, or they can't breathe properly, or they become asthmatic, then they blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, you made me ill. Oh Allah, you did this. But Allah says, the hikmah was there. It says so on the packet of cigarettes. How much more clearer did you want me to make it for you? But you went on and you smoked. Now you see, this is just one side of smoking. I have some youngsters who phone me up and I said, I don't like to get into fiqh issues, but if someone asks me a fiqh question, I answer it and I try to give them the hikmah behind that answer. Not just the one-word answer. Is this halal or haram? No, haram. No, why is it halal? Why is it haram? Whenever anybody asks me about smoking, I say to them, from my knowledge, limited knowledge, and my sort of experience and research, smoking is haram. They say, why do you base this on? So I give them the reasons. Some of the reasons are this. Number one, it is damaging to your health. Anything that damages your health, Allah says, is haram. Number two, it damages other people's health. You see, more dangerous than actual smoking yourself. Now tomorrow night, inshallah, we will talk about Qiyamah, and I want to tell you what Qiyamah is. Inshallah, we leave that for tomorrow night. So you are damaging other people's health. Not only are you damaging other people's health, you're also damaging the environment. See? And also smoking in this country is very expensive. So you're taking money away from your family, from other sources, and you're spending it on a activity that causes damage to yourself, to the environment, and to other people. Then you've got to look at it a bit deeper. So they said to me, go a little bit deeper. So I go a bit deeper. And I said, who runs the cigarette companies in the world? Do a little bit of research. The internet is there now. Research these cigarette companies. Who runs them? The Zionists. What did they do with this money? They support the state of Israel. What does the state of Israel do? Kill Muslim people. Then we look at it on the other side. Why is it? Have you ever asked yourself this question? And they said, let's question everything. We said questioning is very important. Why is it cigarettes are so cheap in our countries? You look at Pakistan, you look at Syria, you look at Iraq, you look at Iran, they sell them cheaper than chocolates and sweets. Why? Because the Zionists want our men to smoke so that it damages the quality of their sperm, so that our future generations are not then born. Israel doesn't have to fight us with weapons. All they've got to do is keep supplying us with cigarettes. We were killing ourselves with our own hands. Kasabat aydin nas. When Allah says this, so you see, my brothers and sisters, how easily you become a jahil just by an act of smoking. So inshallah tonight, my brothers and sisters, those of you who smoke, the youngsters, please don't even go near these things. You see, you are killing yourself with your own hands. So people who smoke, ask Allah for help to quit. Inshallah. Then you look at other people, and we said about the Imam Hussein, you see these organizations that come on here, who is Hussein.org, you will see they normally quote people like Gandhi, they quote people like Charles Dickens, or you will see, like for instance on Ahlul Bayt TV, the English channel, they bring, whenever there's Muharram or any sort of occasion, they bring a priest on there, and he sits there and he says, oh, Imam Hussein was so wonderful, he did this, he did that. Then they bring a rabbi and he says, oh, Imam Hussein was absolutely wonderful, he did this. My question is this, or you see there's a very famous Lebanese author that everyone talks about, George Orda. He has written a book, Imam Ali Sotul Idala, Imam Ali, the voice of justice. So these people keep going on about how wonderful Imam Hussein is. My question to him is, why don't he become a Shia?
Wow.
If this priest comes on Ahlul Bayt TV and he's preaching to everybody, I think Hussein was wonderful for taking his wife and children, what sacrifice, what? So why don't you become a Shia? Why? Because they have the knowledge of Imam Hussein, but they are jahil to Imam Hussein. And if you see Dua Komail, why do I always say to you youngsters, recite Dua Komail? Not because it's, my name is taken off that dua, but really, if you look at Dua Komail and take time to read the translation, but also the tafsir of Dua Komail, you will see that Amir al-Mu'mineen in this one dua has taken most of his hikmah and put it in this one dua. Why I say to you, don't get scared of the word jah and jahiliyyah, because Amir al-Mu'mineen very categorically in Dua Komail says this. He says to Allah, Zalamtu nafsi wa tajarra'tu bil jahli. Oh Allah, I have wronged my own self. So when I say all the calamities are done by us through our ignorance, Amir al-Mu'mineen says this in Dua Komail. Just Zalamtu nafsi. And again, look, when I said to you about the orders of the words that come in, whether it's Quran, whether it's Dua, it doesn't matter because it's all kalam of Allah. Which is why when I said, maybe last year, the year before, Ziyarat Ashura is kalam of Allah with 100% yaqeen. Allah wrote the ziyarat himself. You will see that the words that come in there, for instance, Allah first does la'nat. Allahumma lana abbala dhalim dalamat. Then he says salam to Imam Hussein. You see the order that it comes in, that means until you have the bara'at, unless you have the hatred of the enemy of Imam Hussein, you can't say salam to Imam Hussein. You can't do the ziyarat of Imam Hussein.
Wow.
So you see, again, look at the order here. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Zalamtu nafsi. I have wronged my soul. But tajarra'tu bi jahli. Straight away he says, I have overstepped the marks of ignorance in jahl. Of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying this for us. And then look further on in this dua, he says this, وَلَا تُعَاجِلْنِي بِالْعُقُوبَةِ عَلَى مَا عَمِلْتَهُ فِي خَلَقَاتِي. Oh Allah, do not punish me for the things I have done in private. مِنْ سُوءِ فِعْلِي وَإِسَاءَتِي وَدَوَامِ تَفْرِيتِي وَجَهَالَتِي. Because I have insisted on this jahalat, on this ignorance. So my brothers and sisters, these majalis here tonight, that we're going to so much, hardship and so much difficulty to set up these majalis. Learn from the hikmat of Ahlul Bayt, learn from the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt, and stop doing things against yourself. Stop this misfortune against yourself. Just by simple things. Salawat ala Muhammad. So my brothers and sisters, the ilm, the root of all the difficulties that we face, and last night we said the people who will go to the hellfire was only for two reasons: not listening and not thinking. This says in the Quran. I want to take it back right to the beginning now, and you will see the root of all the problems is this ignorance. We look at the story of Hazrat Adam. Right at the beginning of the Quran, the orders again, like I said, right at the beginning of the Quran. What happens in the story of Adam? A lot of people here miss a very important part of the story. And this is this. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the angels, He gathers all His angels around Him. Angels and jinn, everyone, all gathered around in one place. And He announces to them He announces to them what? He says, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Now this is before the events of what? The sajda. This is before Iblis becomes shaitan, because he wasn't shaitan to that point. So Allah is announcing to everyone that with my knowledge, with my ilm, I have put a khalifa on this earth. So they said, the angels complained, and they said to Allah, we know that the human man will create a lot of mischief, and what are you doing? He said, you don't know my knowledge. What is it? You don't have hikmah of my knowledge. Then look at the orders of the word. Then he says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمُ أَسْمَاءُ كُلَّهَا. So for Adam to become a Khalifa, he had to have what? Ilm. Was ilm enough? No. Allah says, أَعْلَمَ أَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. What were these names? Scholars are unanimous on this. The names are the name of the child of Masumi. What does this mean? That means Adam had to have the knowledge and the hikmah of Ahlul Bayt before he can become a Khalif. That means before he is allowed to become the Khalifatullah, he has to have this knowledge and hikmah. Now that Adam is complete with this ilm, what does Allah say? وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ أُسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ. Now that he is God, they are not prostrating onto a man, a physical man. They are prostrating onto the ilm of Ahlul Bayt and to the hikmah of Ahlul Bayt. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا Iblis. Everyone did sajda apart from Iblis. Now why did Iblis not do sajda? Because he looked at Adam, he used his intellect. Iblis was a very knowledgeable person. He had a lot of ilm. He was the best abid of Allah. In fact, till today, we don't have anybody who has done as much ibadat for Allah apart from Iblis. 6,000 years he did the ibadat of Allah. And amazing, my brothers and sisters, sometimes you younger ones will say to me, does Allah listen to our du'as? Does He answer our du'as? I always say this, Allah listened to the du'a of Iblis and He granted the du'a. Rabbi anzurni ila yawmin yub'asun. Allah, He did du'a. He said, Allah, give me life till the day of judgment. Allah is merciful. Allah is Sami'un Basir. Allah will give the dua. So when Iblis does dua, Allah, this is why they say, why didn't Allah kill Shaitan straight away there and then and everything would have been solved? No, because he made dua, Allah requested the dua. Allah give it to him. So my brothers and sisters, how is Allah going to deny our du'as? Never have this in doubt. Allah is Rahman Rahim. So now Iblis looks at Adam. What does he do? And this is the very main point that a lot of people miss. He didn't do sajda because of his kibr. What does Allah say happened to him when he didn't do sajda? Allah says he is minal kafirin. What does this mean? Someone who denies. Denied what? He didn't deny Adam. He said, I am better than Adam because I am made from fire. He's made from clay. So what is he denying here? He is denying the Khalifatullah. What does this mean? That means Iblis denied the vilayat of Allah. So if anybody denies the vilayat that Allah has chosen, the Khalif that Allah has chosen is a kafir. Why are they kafir? Because Allah is Hakim. He has hikmah. So when Iblis is saying, I don't agree with your hikmat, Allah becomes a kafir. Every prophet that came had to accept this vilayat. Every prophet. Do I have time? Every prophet that came had to accept the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen before their prophecy was accepted from them. Again, we talked about Hazrat Musa, didn't we? And it's important here, this again, another message that sometimes from the story of Musa is not sometimes missed, is what happens. Musa, when he was 17 years old, he ran away from where he was and he went to Madain. There he made Hazrat Shu'aib, he got married to his daughter. 10 years later, when he was going through the valley with the daughter of Shu'aib, he saw a fire. Because it was cold in that valley, He said to his wife, you stay here with our child, I will go and grab from this fire some wood and I'll get some fire, bring it back so we get warmed up. He saw the nur of Allah, he thought it was fire. So when he went there, now Allah has been watching Musa for 10 years, seeing how he prepared he is for this vilayat. He brings Musa and he says to Musa, first things Allah says, what is in the Quran? Ya Musa, inni ana Allah, la ilaha illa ana. Musa, I am your God speaking to you. This is not a fire, this is light. I am your God, there is no God but me. Ya Musa, aqim as-salata li-zikri. Aqim as-salata li-zikri. This is the very first thing Allah says to Musa. Musa, establish namaz. What is namaz? What is namaz? Why do we always go on about namaz? And I think a lot of you thought, 7, 8 nights have been passed now, he hasn't mentioned namaz, we've got away scot-free this year. No. It doesn't work like that with me. What is namaz? I will answer this bit towards the end, please. But just bear this in mind, because I want to get to it. So now we see that everybody who denies the vilayat of Allah, the Khalifatullah, is a kafir. Even our Rasulullah. And again, this is beautiful to see. One of the people that denied him was who? Abul Hakim. Abul Hakim, what does this mean? The father of hikmat, knowledge and wisdom. What did Rasulullah say to call him? Abu Jahl. Why? Because he denied the Khalifa of Allah, Rasulullah. My young brothers and sisters, do you know who Abu Jahl was? He was the uncle of Umar ibn Khattab. Look at this family tree this guy has got. So now Allah has chosen a wali by the name of Ali. Who chose Ali? Who chose Ali? Did Rasulullah choose Ali as my successor?
No.
No. Let me tell you a story here. There was a time when Rasulullah was suffering financially, very badly. A war was imposed on him. He did not have enough money for this war. He did not have enough horses. He did not have enough ammunition. He did not have enough troops. So he was stuck very badly financially. A man came to him from one of the biggest tribes in Arabia. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, I see you're in a very bad position. You are suffering financially. Rasulullah said, yes, this is not, everyone knows this. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I am prepared to give you all the money you need for this war. I am also prepared to give you all the horses and the men that you need from my own tribe. So Rasulullah said, this is a great thing you are doing. What do you want in return? Nobody gives nothing from, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want you to write this down. I just want you to say that everyone around me can hear this. That's enough for me. So he said, what do you want? He said, make me your successor, your wali, after your death. Oh. Don't even write it down, but just say it today so we have some witnesses. Rasulullah said, this vilayat is not mine to give to anybody.
Narai Haidari! Narai Haidari! Salawat bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
This khilafat is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you see, in that Rasulullah will have to say to him, okay, yes. And then when he died, he goes, but he didn't. You see, he made it very clear here that this vilayat is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everybody who denied this vilayat became a kafir. After the death of Rasulullah, a group of people went into Saqifa. They denied Amir al-Mu'mineen's khilafat. Just like Shaitan denied the khilafat of Adam. They all became kuffar. Yazid denied the vilayat of Imam Hussein. He became a kuffar. My brothers and sisters, ISIS are denying the vilayat of Imam Zaman. Why? Because they want to do what? They want to establish khilafat. Don't they? So we are now seeing today with our own very eyes, there are two groups, there are two camps of people. There are the kuffar and there are the Shias. That's it. There is only two. We said خَلَقَ الْأَزْوَاجَ كُلَّهَا. There is only two groups in this world, my brothers and sisters. There's either the kuffar or the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and that's it. Ya Musa, أقم الصلاة للذكر. Oh Musa, establish prayer in my remembrance. What does namaz mean? Why do we say when we go to the grave of Imam Hussein, Ashhadu annaka qad aqamta as-salat? Why do we say this at the grave of all Imams? Why? Because namaz equals the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. My question to you, my brothers and sisters tonight, please think about this. A person who says, I am a Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen, that means I have accepted the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, but does not pray namaz, they are a jahil in all sense of the word. Why? Because they may have accepted the vilayat of Ali by heart, by tongue, but they are not accepting the vilayat of Ali with their action. And it is amazing some of the ignorant comments I get with some of these people. And it's amazing. I mean, I remember I said to you last night, there was a group of people that come from Bradford in the kafla I was with in Sham. He asked me one question, and then believe me, I think he regretted asking the question, and I also regretted answering him, because after that day, we got into a bit of argument with each other, and we didn't talk to each other at the end of the trip. He said to me, brother, I have a question for you, and I said, what's that? He says, on the day of Ashura, we do zanjir sometimes, and our clothes get full of blood. By the time we get home and have a shower or be cleaned up, the Zuhrayn namaz is now become qaza. But this doesn't matter, does it? Because the zanjir zani takes the place of namaz. Isn't that so? I said, why do you say this? He said, it's the day of Ashura, brother. We are doing something for Imam Hussein, but we miss our prayers. I said, this is not allowed. I said, why? Is our day of Ashura a bank holiday? Has Allah given you the day off from namaz? And he said, okay, day of Ashura, you do matam instead, you do zanjir instead, don't do prayers. You have the day off, it's okay. I said, anywhere written this? Has any of our Imams said this? He said, no, but brother, I said, there is no, this is the deen. You either want to know the truth, or you can remain jahil for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. Because namaz is the most important thing. Why? Because namaz equals the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So if we turn away from the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have nothing. We are a jahil. Why do I say namaz equals the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Well, my brothers and sisters, look in the Quran. Where does the vilayat of Ali get mentioned? Where? In the Quran. Innama Waliyakum Allah. So now look at the vilayat. Allah is establishing vilayat here for everyone to see. Where does the vilayat come from? Innama Waliyakum Allah. So your first wali is who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then who? Wa Rasuleh. And his prophet. Walladina amanu. People who believe. Who are these people? What are they doing? Alladina yuqimuna as-salat wa yu'tuna az-zakat wa hum raki'un. What does this mean? That means the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen is the person who established prayers while he himself is praying. They say to me, I asked some of the people, why don't you pray? One person, Allah, I swear, he said it to me. He said, I don't pray because why? Because Imam Ali was killed in namaz. Therefore, I don't pray because my Mawla was killed in namaz. So he was killed in this act. This act puts me off praying. You see, these are the jahil comments these people make to us. So when Allah says to Musa, Ya Musa, aqim as-salat lil-zikri, that means Musa, for you to be my prophet, for you to get the prophethood, you have to accept the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Very simply. So my brothers and sisters, establish your prayers. Do your prayers. And then you will see that through these prayers that you establish for Allah and His Rasul and for Ahlul Bayt, you will then get the ilm and the hikmah of Ahlul Bayt. Without this, you will not be successful no matter what you do. Sallallahu alayhi wa Imam Hussein, when he wanted to do the Wida, he had several Widas at Karbala. And we mentioned the other night that the Vedas were all extremely difficult for Imam Hussein. That even though he suffered a lot of calamities and he saw a lot of deaths, but the actual Veda with the women and the children was extremely hard for Imam Hussein to take. One Veda in particular was after Imam Hussein had said goodbye to Lady Zainab. He got off on his horse. When he got on his horse, he saw that his 3-year-old daughter, Hazrat Ruqayya, was standing by the horse. So he got off from his horse, he got down, he picked up his little daughter and he put her on his lap and he said, "My daughter, what is it?" He said, "Father, I know you are going. I know you are going on a journey. But Father, I have one question I need to ask you before you go." He said, "What is it, my daughter?" He said, "Father, why was my auntie Zainab kissing your throat?" Believe me, this one question of this 3-year-old daughter killed Imam Hussein all the way to the Qatl-e-Gah. "Why was my auntie kissing your throat?" He replied to this to his daughter. He said, "My daughter, I will give you the answer, but not now. I will answer you. Where, Father? I will answer you in the Kharaba of Sham." Those of you who have daughters will understand this. Those of you who don't have daughters will not understand what I'm saying now. She kept saying all the way, "Oh, Auntie Zainab, I want my father. My dear daughter, your father has gone on a journey. He will be back soon, inshallah." So she kept saying, "I want my father, I want my father." Those of you know 3-year-old girls, 4-year-old girls, when they want something, they're quite insistent on it. She kept saying, "I want my father, I want my father." In the Kharaba al-Sham, she cried so much that Yazid said, "What does this girl want?" They said, "Oh, Yazid, she wants her father." He says, "So take her the head of her father." They brought the head of Imam Hussein into the Kharaba al-Sham. They put her in front of this girl. This girl who wanted her father so much looked at this head. She did not recognize the head of her father. Why did she not recognize the head of the father? This head that had been in the tanur of khuli, that had been in the smoke and the fire in the tanur of khuli, was all now black. Not only this, but Sheikh Ja'far al-Shushtari in one of his books has said that one of the places where they took the head of Imam Hussein, فَسَلَخُوهُ رَأْسَ الْحُسَيْنِ. What does this mean? Salakhu means the people who make leather. People who make leather goods, they are known as salah. Why? Because they peel the skin from the belly of the animals. In one of the places where they had taken the head of Hussein, they had peeled all the skin off the head of Hussein. This is why this 3-year-old daughter who had wanted their father, when they placed the head of the father on her lap, she asked her father 3 questions. Ya Abata, man alladhi qata'a baridak. Oh father, who is it who cut your throat? Oh father, man alladhi aitamani ala sighar sinni. Oh father, who is it that's made me an orphan at such a young age? Then she said, "Father, I have now got my answer. Now that I see your throat, I know why my auntie Zainab was kissing it before you went." Allahu Akbar. I remember when this girl kissed the head of her father, as soon as she put her lips on the lips of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, she passed away from this world. This is wrong, my brothers and sisters. A lot of people mention this, but this is not sahih. We don't have it in any of our books. That Imam al-Sajjad and Hazrat Zainab took this body to a lady in Sham to do the ghusl. No, this is not true. But even if there is some truth to it, they say that this lady looked at the body of this 3-year-old child. She said, "I will not do ghusl on this body." They said, "Why not?" She said, "Until you tell me first of all, what disease did this child have that she died of?" It is written, Imam al-Sajjad says this child did not have any disease. The woman said, "If this child did not have any disease, why is this body black and blue?" It is written that from Karbala all the way to Sham, this 3-year-old daughter was forced to walk. Not only was she forced to walk, but she was forced to walk on these thorns. These thorns are known as Khare Mughilan. In all my years of study, I'd never seen a Kharim Mughilan, and others wondered what is this Kharim Mughilan? And it is written this girl had to walk barefooted on these stones. One year when I went to Sham, this man had come from Azerbaijan. He had brought with him this Kharim Mughilan. It was approximately this big. It was full of thorns. Hazrat Ruqayyah had to walk on these all the way to Sham. One alim said that I had read this, that Hazrat Ruqayyah's feet were blistered and they were bruised and they were cut because of these thorns. But I did not believe this in my heart. But he said I was present when the grave of Hazrat Ruqayyah was flooded in Sham. They had to bring this body out. They had to exhume it from the grave so that they could then relay it and build a new grave. He said when I saw the body that was wrapped up in the shroud, he goes, I wanted to get near to it. We weren't allowed to unwrap the shroud. He goes, the only thing I did was when no one was looking, I went towards the feet. I unwrapped the feet. I looked at the feet and I thought, yes, his feet are still covered with all the bruises and the cuts from the thorns. يا رب المؤمنين حق أمير المؤمنين اشف صدور المؤمنين بظهور الحجة يا رب الحجة حق الحجة اشف صدر الحجة بظهور الحجة السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله